Hey everybody, this is Kirk and this is Chase, and we are here at Beyond the Rolls, another edition here. I know it's been a long time since you've seen us, but we have our special guest. She drove up to yesterday, today, joined us, and of course it's Fargo, North Dakota, so it's gonna be some snow coming on, but we have Sarah Clark here. Sarah, so happy to have you up here in Fargo, and you always said, I'll try not to get up there before the weather gets bad.
Yeah.
And this, of course, it's going to happen, right?
Right.
So.
Right on cue.
It's not a long drive for me though, right? 3.5 hours. So I'm just right down the road essentially. It's one freeway the whole way. So hopefully I miss the main part of the storm heading home. So.
Yeah, we're fingers crossed we are too today. Even though we live in Fargo, we don't look forward to storms. I don't mind the snow, but it's just like the wind has been crazy, stuff like that. So Sarah, you're here today in Fargo, having some fun, and really want to learn more about what's going on with Sarah and happening in your life. But also, just remember, we just actually briefly met, not only a few months ago.
Yes.
And I remember I was kind of assigned as like your escort to come over to Italy with you on the plane, because I remember we were all, Johan was like, he goes, you'll talk to Kirk, he's flying on the same flight, you guys go together.
Yeah.
And I remember we briefly met in Atlanta, got on the plane, and then we were talking at the end over in we were in Venice, and I was telling you about, hey, we're up by the luggage carousel, and the last time I was here in Venice, my buddy, he lost his bag. He didn't see it for a few days, and sure enough, what happens to me?
You lost your bag?
I lost my bag. Delta decided that it wasn't going to make the flight, so I was with a couple days without luggage, but funny, it's just like, I'm like, it's karma for me. But funny thing is,
you did have a quick transfer, right? You hopped off of one plane right onto the
yes,
other, so.
yeah. So we did have a quick transfer, but things happen. But I will say, is Joanne and the crew over there, stepped up real quick, and they literally had their extra clothes in my room almost as soon as they got there. So it was hand-me-downs, but I really appreciate it. And just talking about how we were in Italy, I mean, it was fantastic.
It was. I'd never been there before, so it was a great experience, and I want to go back.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on going, and every time I'm like, this place is so much fun. And we did have a lot of fun. And obviously, we were there for a special reason.
Yeah.
Announced the new cutter from Caesar, and, it was a blast.
Yeah,
I thought it really a first-class event.
Yeah, and it was planned well. Everything was timed. We did, this from this time to this time, and then we jumped to the next thing, and it was there's a lot crammed into those few days.
Yeah. We're busy. I mean, I was so tired when I got on the plane coming back. I was like, they're like, it's 10 hours until you get back to Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. And I'm like, I swear I slept a lot of that. So, but action-packed, it was great, a lot of fun.
And we stayed until Sunday. We left Sunday, so we had one extra day.
Yeah. So you and Ellie had a blast, and we had a great time with everybody we're with over there. It was awesome.
A lot of jokes, a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun on there, and like I said, a lot of shenanigans with the crew. We were over there and talk about it. But let's talk about, we're in Fargo now, so I got you to Fargo, not Italy. Nope. So we can say that the Fargo area does have a little Italy over in Dilworth originally, based off of the railroad, and when the railroad first came into Fargo area and stuff like that.
Well, I've never been to Fargo, so this was...
So what do you think?
A first for me, too.
What do you think so far?
And I'm so close. It's nice. I like it. We had fun last night, bowling and stuff, and it's just, I mean, it's weird driving because it's like all farmland, and all of a sudden there's like the city.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not too different from where I'm from, so.
Yeah, literally the city on the plains as it kind of pops out of nowhere.
Yeah,
so
it just kind of crops up there.
Yeah. So tell us, Sarah, what's family, kids?
I have 6 kids total. I have 2 older kids that live in Arizona. They're in their 20s. And then I have at home, I have a 16-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
So a lot of action, a lot of things going on.
A lot of things going on.
So
my 6-year-old will actually be 7 on the 21st. So
I have 2 kids and I can't even phantom like 6. I'm just like, wow.
I have them in groups of 3. So my household is very busy, very busy.
I would say.
Yeah, and I do a lot. You know, I have a full-time day job. I'm a tech writer for the FAA, and then I craft on the side and do all my social media stuff on the side. I am the registrar for the Youth Hockey Association and their charitable gambling manager as well. I have my 3 younger kids all play hockey. So,
I have one question
Yes.
for you. Do you sleep at all?
yes,
Oh my, I don't know how
It's
you manage to
amazing that I
squeeze
do.
that in.
I feel privileged that you're even here with the schedule you got. I mean, my kids were in youth hockey for a little while, and I realized the intense schedule, but that you take on the charitable part of it and everything else, that's even more intense.
Yeah.
Good for you. I mean, that's impressive. I will just
I
say,
keep busy.
yeah. I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, I don't know where you have time. I feel I have no time until now. Nope, I got no complaints now. What do you think, Jace?
I mean, yeah, I also feel lucky that she was literally able to squeeze us in, I would feel like.
Yeah.
With a busy schedule. Good.
We got you to Fargo.
Luckily, the hockey schedule right now, my kids are so
Okay,
little
yeah.
that it's typically on the weekends. My
Okay.
6-year-old has hockey tonight, but usually it's like 4 hours at the rink on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday. So
Okay, so not maybe quite as extensive
not
as when
not
they get a
not
little
until when they get a
older.
little bit
Yeah,
older and they're going 5 days a week. So yeah.
So in all of that, family, everything else, you got into the crafting.
I did.
And like how or why or what?
So
where'd you have do you have time? We'll talk about time issues later, but like I want your time management skills. But how? I mean, where did you get into it?
So I've been crafting I've been, doing art or whatever my whole life. And just more recently, well, I guess I would say in the last 10 years or so, I bought my first silhouette machine about 10 years ago to make a scrapbook of a trip we took with my family. And it just accelerated from there. I started troubleshooting people's issues on Facebook. I have about 25 years of computer hardware and software experience on help desks and in person. So helping people with their software and things like that was kind of like second nature for me. And so once I'm an admin of groups that have 60-some thousand people plus,
Wow.
I answer hundreds of posts a week, helping people with their Silhouette software. And then I found out about the Terry Johnson Creates. Terry Johnson, she has a licensing for Silhouette.
Yeah.
And so I took her licensing course, so I'm a licensed Silhouette instructor. And I'm beta testing the Juliet too. So
Yeah. Obviously, we're all excited. We're all excited about the Juliet, everything
Yes.
else. Obviously, the crafting business it's blowing up. It's massive. It's the DIY. Everything's doing on that, and just amazing. And so you think like you do all this, Sarah. You like all the questions, everything else. Because it's time consuming. I look at like even our Facebook and like we don't get 1,000s the questions that probably happen those.
Right.
Like where do you find like I'm going to do this and do this.
Yep.
I mean, you're just always connected.
Yeah,
I mean,
I certainly am. My husband's, much to the chagrin of my husband, he's like, put your phone down. I'm like, I'm helping somebody. Just a minute.
This is work. What
Hold
are you
on.
yeah. So I admire your dedication to like the craft and to give up that time because I don't think people realize like that's a lot of time.
Yeah, and it's time I'm giving for free, right?
Right.
So, I spend hours upon hours helping people try to fix their software, their hardware.
What is like typically the number one thing you're going to see with like software and hardware that?
So there's a lot of things where the machine's not connecting or they need to figure out, they're new and they don't know how to manipulate their file the way that they want to. And so you're helping with things like that. There's issues with, I bought this from, XYZ and it's not doing this. So like from the Silhouette Design Store, for example, the files automatically download to your library. It's not downloading to my library. How do I fix it? Things like that. So
it's impressive. Because tech support is a big thing, and it takes up a lot of time, and it's
and so me and Ellie both answer a ton of questions, and that's what we spend most of our time doing. And it's like we try to help them so that way they don't have to go to support. We basically give them all the troubleshooting steps, and once we reach our end, then we're like, okay, now you have to contact support. Show them all the things you showed us, and it'll speed up your process.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and obviously it's tough because obviously you get out of the box. I've been there. I literally had like these lights that are the shades in my house. You
Right.
set it up on the other remote, and then it'll have an app with my phone. And I spent an hour on it, and it was not working. And I'm like, where can I get some help? Obviously, there's not, so I'll have to go back and wait to the people that sold it to me, and they're going to help me with it. But so it's like very frustrating. I can see where you spent that money, and you want it to work.
Right.
And there's so many variables of like software and hardware and all that.
And, even if I have a Silhouette Cameo 4 and you have a Silhouette Cameo 4, and I'm using EasyWeed and you're using EasyWeed, my cut settings might not be the same as your cut settings, right? It depends on the blade usage. It depends on just the machine itself. While it's the same machine, there's still some differences, right? There can be some minute differences in manufacturing and things like that. So, people who want the one-stop, what's the tried and true settings, and you're like, well, there is none,
Yeah, and that's a good point that I always tell people. It says even though these are guidelines, test again.
Yeah.
And I think, I tell them it's elevation, it's humidity, it's all these things that can affect all this stuff. And this time of year, we're now getting more moisture, but it's cold.
Right.
So that changes how things work and everything else, and the blade and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so
I'm always pushing test cut. Even with the Juliet, they're like, well, why are there presets? And you're like, well, that's a starting point, right?
Yep.
Do your test cut. Do the test cut. If it doesn't work, adjust something. Play with it. I'm tired of wasting materials. That's how you learn.
Yeah.
Buy some extra. They're like, I only have this 3-inch by 3-inch piece, and I have to do this one thing in this one color. I'm like, buy some more.
Yeah. Especially new products. I always tell people, like, don't sell a job until all of a sudden you've used it before. Like, so just spend some money and like, hey, go buy a yard or something and play with it first before you sell a job. Because we've seen so many people that are like, well, I have a job and it's due, and I'm like, have you used it before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well,
I see a lot of those too. They're like, oh, I'm starting a business. I just got my machine yesterday. I already have an order. And you're like, you don't even know your machine. You don't know the software. You don't know the material. You don't know, you can't come here and say, hey, I have this order. How do I do it? You have to learn. It takes time to learn. You can't just open a business.
Yikes! That was the calls. Like I know Chase used in the room, probably customer service. You hear those calls like, "This is the first time I use it, and I have a job, and it's 100 shirts." And you're like, "Yikes!"
It's like that scares me just to hear, not to be involved with.
I've been doing this for 10 years, and I don't know if I would take an order for 100 shirts,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to film you. We have got one clip at least, and it says test cut, test cut. Okay, we got to get that with Sarah, so then that way we can just play it back on social media. Like Sarah says test cut.
So, I always test cut.
I think that's so important. So you got into crafting. What do you think is next out there? I mean, what's
now recent. So I've been in these Facebook groups for years, right? And at first it was just cutting vinyl, and first of all it's cutting paper, and then people are like, oh, it's this vinyl stuff, and they're like, what? Heat transfer vinyl, and then they're like, oh, it's sublimation. And now everyone's like, can I convert an Epson to DTF?
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, well, it might be an interesting concept, but if I'm going to do DTF, I want the equipment that's going to do DTF, right?
Yep.
I don't want to, sublimation is one thing, but DTF is a whole different process.
Yeah.
But it seems to be gaining traction.
I think DTF's it's not gonna go away. It's gonna be relevant. But right now the DTF, none of the machines really work. Okay, even the ones that are spending $40,000-$50,000 on it, they just don't always work. And so we do know, top secret, there is something coming out possibly in that small format that could help with the DTF. And it's supported. And that's the biggest, I always get scared about, is like nobody supports that, because it's, once you convert that machine, it's gone. As soon as it breaks, you just throw it away.
And you can't call, Epson for help. They're going to be like, no, that's not our ink.
They don't.
What did you do with it? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to call.
And I don't have DTF, but I've used DTF transfers and stuff like that. But, from talking to some people in Italy, like Ramon, he's like, you have to print. Like, it can't sit, like, you can let your sublimation printer not print for a couple of days and be fine.
Yep.
But with DTF, you have to print, or else you're like dead in the water. You got to clean the lines. You got to do all this other maintenance in order to keep it going. And I just don't think that a lot of these home crafters or home businesses like that realize that that's.
It's not there yet.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, and I look at it as, it'll find its place. It will not replace everything, obviously, because everything's around. I'm like, it's not. And like I've heard a lot of people say, if you're not always constantly using the printer, I think that comes with like any printer you buy, even like wireframe stuff. If you're not using it all the time, it just goes bad.
Right.
And that's the key on that. So, we see that going on in the industry. What's next for you? How long are you gonna? I mean, you got anything cool, new you're gonna do, or what's?
So I've just been testing the Juliet. I've been trying to get thicker materials in there. I was testing out some shrink plastic. I got it to cut, so it depends. I've been playing with the graphics, so different types of, they have colored, and then they have the sanded and the ultra sanded and the clear, and
Yep.
I've noticed that the colored is a little bit more difficult to cut, and I think it has to do with the fact that it's colored, right? This is a different process.
Yeah.
But other than, for right now, that's my focus is figuring out the Juliet. It's so new. I have a group for it on Facebook. It's like 400 people in it.
Okay.
It's brand new. So we actually started it while I was in Italy.
Oh,
So
nice.
I was on the ball with that one.
Man, you
but
probably
I've
had free time in Italy when you were like,
we were on the bus.
You were
Yeah.
taking pictures. She was.
yeah. I'm taking
but
pictures of running around being stupid, and she's like, I got this going on.
Started a Facebook group. It's so new, people still don't know. And so being able to give them, guidance is my focus right now. So.
If you don't mind me asking, what feature about the Juliet are you most excited about?
So I like everything about the Juliet. I'm leaning, when I go to cut something, I'm leaning more and more to using that over my silhouettes, and I've been using Silhouette for, 10 years. At home I have a Cameo 1, a Cameo 3, a Cameo 4, a Portrait 2, a Portrait 3, two Curios, and I have their 3D printer. So my whole craft room is essentially
Quite a
Silhouette.
collection.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, because I've been working very closely with Caesar, that there's some new tools coming out that I'm super excited for, and I can't wait to try them.
So your craft room's got to be like either extremely organized or big.
It is extremely organized because my craft room is about 6 foot by 9 foot.
Oh man.
That's yes.
And I have 2 heat presses, a tumbler press. I have a solo in there. Yeah.
That's it.
That's all that fits.
That's all
my
that fits.
desk and my workbench and all my material. Like every closet in my house has like vinyl in it. So.
So clearly, you are very good at organizing time and things in space too. So
well, I have 3 kids under 7, so my house has to be organized.
Yeah, it does make sense. Well,
I would believe it with a hockey family. You just have to have everything. Bam, bam,
3
bam.
hockey bags, 3. Yeah, that's a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
So tell us, what do you do for fun?
I craft.
That's
I
it.
make That's my time, right?
Okay, so that is your time.
That is my time. Yeah. So while I'm troubleshooting and stuff like that, that's not necessarily like fun. It's something that I feel like people need, and I like doing it. I don't mind help getting people help started. When I started with Silhouette, there weren't Facebook groups, and there weren't blogs, and there weren't anything, and no resources. Right? You basically just had to try stuff and see what would work.
Yeah.
And now people are like, can I have a YouTube video? Can I have this? Can I have that? And I'm like, just try it.
Yeah.
Open up, draw a square and click some buttons and see what they do. That's the only way you're really going to learn is if you try it. Like I said, everybody's worried about wasting materials. Waste the materials. That's how you learn. And so the actual creating part is my time, right? So like I give some of my time to people on Facebook to help them. But the actual creating things, my husband is always like, when are you going to start selling this stuff? Because I don't sell anything that I make, right? I use them as samples for classes or, a blog post or something like that. Decorate my house. I'm like, I make stuff so that way I can put it somewhere in my house, right?
Yep.
But he's like, do we really need 4 of these? I'm like, well, 3 of them are mess ups. Sorry. He's like, well, can you throw them away? I'm like, no. People want to see that everybody makes mistakes, even after all my years of experience.
Yeah, nothing goes perfect. It always has problems, and that's what's cool. Is like, hey, there is screw ups.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah.
And
to be able to show that to people, they like. People like to see it, especially you watch some of these lives and people they mess up and they're like, oh, oops, and people are like, oh, I did that too, or
Yeah.
oh, I'm so glad you made a mistake,
Yeah.
things like that. They like that reassurance that they're not the only ones who
Right.
are, making mistakes.
Having issues and everything else on that. And so that's a good point. I think about is like I was almost every cutter we send out. I think about like we probably should just put like here is a roll of whatever. Just go nuts.
Right.
So you can just have those errors and mistakes until you get comfortable. Because it honestly might take up to 5 yards just of like getting where you want to be and get comfortable with it and stuff like that.
And all materials are different. I mean, the red easy weed's different from the black easy weed, and and the white is different than the yellow, and so it just takes time. Yeah, I'm excited to try that new Caesar product, the Starling.
Yeah, they're PSV, and I think the cool part about that is it's going to be obviously dishwasher proof, and that'll be fun.
That works in my household with 6 people.
Yeah, well,
I get tired. So I used to make epoxy tumblers, and I get tired. I have so many epoxy tumblers, and I get so tired of hand washing the stupid things that I just put them up on the shelf, and I don't really use them anymore.
yeah. So, our household is like it goes in the dishwasher. I don't care, and if it doesn't last, even though they say not dishwasher proof, if it doesn't last. Okay, I guess I just don't go there again.
My husband's like, "How many tumblers do you need?" I was like, "All of them.
All of
I
them.
need all of them."
So good host for a party because you have plenty of tumblers. Everything. So
Everybody wants some coffee.
First thing I did when I got back from Italy, I made a tumbler. Right? Pictures from Italy.
awesome. Yeah.
So
So Sarah, tell us one thing we don't know about you.
wow, I don't know.
That somebody's going to be like, wow.
That's a hard one. I don't know. I have 6 kids. That's usually the one that people are like,
Yeah.
holy cow, you have 6 kids. That's a lot. So, and I like to keep busy. And I've only been in Minnesota for 14 years. I'm
Okay.
from Arizona.
Okay.
So.
There we
Oh,
go.
so you did kind of the opposite
I
thing
did.
about people from Minnesota.
I did. And I
Okay.
moved from Arizona to Minnesota at the end of August.
Ooh.
And everyone was like, why? So I figure you can always put more clothes on to keep warm.
True.
True. I remember I came back to Fargo in 2009, and I came from California, so my license plates had California on it, and my neighbors came over, and they're like, you do realize this is Fargo, North Dakota? And I'm like, yeah, I've been here before. And they're, oh, okay, because like we were going to tell you, like it's not going to be good,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's Fargo, North Dakota. So, thinking about the industry, and obviously, do you see anything you think you wish the industry had coming out in 2023 or 2024? I mean, what would be like the end all cure all, or what's out there that's missing?
An end all cure all.
I know. I mean, but is there something like we're missing this? We need it.
No, I don't really think so. I mean, you can make anything, right? You just have to have the right materials to do it. I scroll saw. Ellie has a laser cutter, so she has a glow forge. So if I need something cut on a glow forge, she mails it to me.
Nice. Yeah.
So even though I don't have it, I have the resources to
Yeah.
be able to acquire what I need in order to, to make what I want.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is people are afraid to learn, right? They're afraid to try things, and just trying to be able to get people to just do it.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people are like, oh, is there a start to finish class? And you're like, well, like in the silhouette software, there's like 5 ways to do one thing. You can use the menu, you can use the toolbar, you can right click, you can hotkeys, and so there's no one right way to do something. I think just maybe like going forward, like maybe Caesar having some sort like a video series. This is how you trace or contour, the contour cut. This is how you print and cut. This is how you just try and get. Silhouette tried to do, did a good job with their Silhouette 101 blog, but it wasn't very consistent.
Yeah.
And people always look elsewhere for information. So I think just having one spot where you can go for the machine to say, hey, this is where you should start, right?
Yeah. I think that's a big thing out there. You look at it as like the information is out there, but it's actually just finding it where it's all at sometimes is hard, and going like, okay, is this reliable?
Especially
This is
when you
where.
don't know what the terminology is, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to do this, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Right. So having something, some sort of a reference somewhere, a tab on your website,
Yep.
something like that, just a list of resources where you can go for certain things.
Yeah, and that's always been like, it says our focus now too is like we just gotta like educate, help people
Yeah.
get through that startup process because
the education part is what needs to catch up with the technology part, I think.
I would agree with that, and I think we need more like you. They're selfish and give themselves to the industry to educate and let people learn, and that's what I think is amazing. What you do out there. I don't think I could have the time to do it, and then like the amount of things, and like you're just talking to. We were with Melissa in Italy too, and she's like, I was up all night. I was responding to people's questions and all that stuff, and I'm like, I says, how many you get? And she's like, well, there's hundreds. And I'm just like. You shake your head, but like it's just selfish what you do out there and help, and it's amazing how you've pushed the industry forward to really have that spot where people can go. So
Melissa and her team put out a lot of content, and they have for a long time. So Melissa's website for Silhouette has quite a bit of content.
Yeah.
But you do have to be careful because some of the content is outdated, right? So you have to make sure. Sometimes I'll see it. They're like, "Oh, here's this blog post that I found," and I'm like, "That's from like 2001, right?
Yeah.
You need to find something more current. The software has changed, and things like that."
So next we're gonna kind of go into a little rapid fire. We're gonna ask you some questions. Okay. Me and Chase, we're gonna on the fly just throw some things at you, more simple answers, stuff like that. And so I'll just start off and be like, "What's the last movie you saw?" Or favorite TV, wherever else. Somewhere in there, I'm hoping maybe you watch.
I'm a zombie fanatic, so I would say anything zombie related is.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Walking Dead fiend, and I'm so sad that it's ending.
Mine doesn't exactly go from that, but I've got a couple ones that I wanted to ask you. I noticed on your site that you use a fair amount of etch-all projects. And for one, I just thought it was cool, the breadth of different projects that you do from glass to paper crafts to everything basically. And I've heard that some etching products like that smell like rotten eggs when you use them. Does etch-all smell like rotten eggs at all? No. Well, that's
and
a very strong selling point.
So I like etch-all over armor etch.
Okay.
Armor etch you have to like move around when you use it, and etch-all you just put it on and then you can put it back in the jar and use it again.
Oh, really?
And I have some etch-all. It's like a caramel color, so it's white, like a cream color when you first get it, like white and cream. But over time it oxidizes, and it still works just as well as it did when I first opened the bottle.
That's pretty amazing.
So, yeah, I really like etch-all.
Excellent.
It gives a nice even edge. So.
All right. Well, etch-all, now everybody knows.
Yeah.
That's a good product. I was kind of wondering, you kind of touched on a little bit of it before, but by saying that your crafting and stuff is kind of your personal time and stuff like that. I was wondering, when you are setting out to like do crafts projects like that and stuff, what is the general like most common way you go about that? Is it like, oh,
like how
you
do
see
I find
something?
my ideas?
Yeah, is it something cool you see, or is it like something you're like, I want to express this?
I usually it's something that I see. I'm on Pinterest quite a bit, looking at things.
Seems to be a common.
Finding, or even if I go to the store, so there's a Hobby Lobby across the street from my house.
Okay.
And I'll go and I'll walk around and I'll look at things and get ideas and so it just kind of all comes together. Or I'll be looking at files. I'll go to Design Bundles or the Silhouette Design Store or wherever, and I'll just scroll through and see what they have, and I'm like, oh, that'd be good on XYZ. I happen to have that here, or I'm going to try to etch that, or I think about the seasons and the holidays and stuff like that, so, or things my kids need. I do a lot of hockey-related stuff.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially this time of year. I actually made my kids, a couple of years ago when my 16-year-old was in hockey, I made them all sweatshirts. And I put hockey sticks on the front, their last name on the sleeve, and on the back it says, if you see me, if I'm lost, it's because my mom is watching hockey instead of me, right? So.
Do your kids ever like get tired of like, don't make that for my mom? Can you just go buy something for me? Or
no, not even my 16-year-old. My 16-year-old, he is a gamer, right? And he came up with his own logo, and he's like, hey, can you put this on some stuff for me? And he's 16.
That's
almost
cool.
17. He'll be 17 in December. So, you know, even my, you know, my big kids are like, can you make me something? Can you make me something? So.
Yeah. I know my the teenager Caden, he's 17, and like he'll buy something, he'll bring it home, and like immediately I'll be like touching it, and he goes, "Stop just like analyzing my stuff and how it's made." And I'm like, "That's just what we're in."
I don't care how the hand is on it.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, it's rough. They did it this way and everything else," and he's just like, "Don't, Dad, just leave it alone. Leave it alone." So
I just liked it.
Yeah.
So, you know. One last thing we obviously all know is favorite food, no matter what.
Mexican food.
Mexican food. Okay.
Yeah,
Good
I
choice.
think that's because I grew up in Arizona, right? So
yes.
I like authentic, real Mexican food. There's being up in this region. Some of the Mexican food's not, you know, it's still Mexican food, but it's not like authentic Mexican food, and that's so. Every time I go home to Arizona, my whole family is in Arizona, so every time I'm like, okay, let's go. We gotta go get tacos. I need tamales. Can we? They're like, I'm like, I gotta bring home tortillas. You know.
Bringing back everything home. That's awesome.
I'm calling my aunt, my mom on the phone. I'm like, hey, can you mail me some chili powder? Like, I need some more tortillas. So,
any last thing? We're getting close to wrapping up here, and just say any last thing you want to just say as far as.
No, you guys can find me on sarahscreatestudio.com. So.
And hopefully, you know, next time maybe we'll be able to come and visit you. You're not too far away, obviously, a drive and check out your studio, which we do look forward to. Obviously, we love doing visits to our partners and influencers.
And my 6x9.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
You just want to see that in general.
You just want to come pet my dog. It's okay.
So, you know, we really look forward to that. And obviously, you know, hopefully we'll get back up here in summer.
Yeah.
Lollapalooza 2023, and you'll be there up there for that event.
I mean, I'm right down the road.
So convenient. Yeah. So we really appreciate it again. And like I says, we look forward to the next visit and being in touch and doing everything else. And like I said, you know, I wanted to say that what you do for the industry is amazing, and it's appreciated, and we see it. And again, we want to thank you for that, and thank you for your time. And you know,
I had fun. It was fun being here.
Yeah, this is awesome. We had a lot of fun.
Whenever you guys want me to come back, I'll be more than willing to drive the 3 hours.
All right, deal. So, and then you know, there you go, people. That's Beyond the Rolls. We got Sarah Clark here. You can find her. She's obviously in many blogs everywhere else, and she's definitely there to give you advice and help you get into crafting and beyond. So.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be sure to check out Sarah's Create Studio for one, and also check out our website. You can see more videos there and all of our wonderful products as well.